Hey Steelers Nation, it's Joe Rockey with the Pittsburgh Syndicate, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing what Vegas says our odds are for the season. And they have us listed at 8.5 wins. 8.5. And Steelers Nation, to give perspective of why they think this and the difference of where I'm at with this, they already have the lines out for week one in which they think we will lose as a 3-point underdog at home to the Niners, to a team that we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. And it's either going to be Lance, who is a complete utter bust, or Darnold, who is a complete utter bust. Yes, that Darnold who has failed everywhere. So that's the mindset that Vegas has entering this team. The Steelers are incredibly lying in the weeds. In the episode, which I'll tag at the end of this one, I broke down the Steelers' schedule in how it was in terms of power rankings looking at the NFL. And over half our games, the power rankings are below us. So just using that very base, kind of lazy analysis, we're already at 9 wins doing that. But the bigger issue is that the Steelers' defense, going through our schedule, over 75% of the time is clearly the best unit on the field. And the reason the line is where it is goes back to the national media's advertisement of Kenny. And when you look at just the season-long stats of Kenny, they aren't great. That's true. But if you look at the post-bye week stats it's radically different. Lots of reasons for that. Obviously, the schedule gets better. But the main one, and this also goes with the fact that we had leads, lots of Kenny's interceptions were desperation mode trying to get back into the game. And those don't happen, obviously, when you have the lead. We think of the one against Miami. That was a crushing one. You could have come back and won that game. And the one against the Jets. All the beginning half of the year was one. Philadelphia was just a bad game, altogether. So we look at that, and that's obviously the backdrop of his stats. It's almost like a reliever in baseball. They go out in April and gets completely crushed. Their ERA will be in the 4s all the way until August, even if they have perfect outings, because they're out there only for an inning. Well, the same is true with Kenny's stats. He had put such bad numbers, especially with interceptions early, it was hard to overcome. But if you break down his on-the-field decisions, it was better. Also, we relied much more upon the running game from December on. And in doing so, put less pressure upon Kenny. Everything about this offseason that Khan has done to improve this team has been an indication that we are going to run the ball more. And by default, better. Because you don't add 2 incredible upgrades to the left side of your line of scrimmage, both in terms of passing, but especially in run blocking, and don't think that you're not going to use them to run the ball. The Steelers' offensive line is one of about 3 or 4 in the NFL that actually can run behind each gap going across. Outside left tackle, left guard, left tackle, all the way across to outside right tackle. Most teams in the NFL can run through 2 or 3 of them. We have all of them. And with that power comes the ability of saying, hey, we can mix things up. Is Najee ever going to be breaking out 80-yard runs? No, he doesn't run a 4-2. A safety will catch him. But is he able to run over safeties? Yes. We just need to back them up a little bit and have them, instead of being in the box, have them being 12 yards deep. And you do that by throwing the ball downfield and completing them. One of the biggest schematical issues of last season was, just like Fichtner, as I mentioned earlier today, basically Pickens was only running deep into the right side. If you just introduce Pickens to saying, you might start on the right every play. We're fine with that. But you're going to end this play in all 3 of the deep quadrants or deep thirds when it's all said and done. That's how you open up safeties. Because now there's a chance that he's starting on the right side, but he's going to end up in the deep left third. Both safeties have to respect that because he's running through both sectors. And if it's a cover 3 system, you're just pushing everyone back. So, end of the day, it opens up Najee. And if you run combination routes where Muth is switching with him and being able to say, Pickens, as you're going to deep center, I'm going to do a post to the deep right. Well, now we got confusion in the secondary, and confusion in the secondary results in busted coverage. It's the way it does. And the more you make a defense have to think, the more likely they are to make mistakes. It's true with any single thing in life. The more things are on your plate, the more likely you are to mess one of them up. And giving the offensive line this boost and giving Najee the opportunity to go across the board is how this team's going to make up. Not to mention the line's 8.5. I believe in Tomlin. Tomlin's never had a losing season. He's been here way long enough to have a track record. I kind of think that this is an easy money sucker bet that the Steelers are at only 8.5. I personally think that this line should be at 10.5. So knowing that, I just told you where I would be at it. And guys, they have Baltimore and Cleveland ahead of us in over-under numbers. I don't see us losing to Cleveland, period. And Baltimore, I've discussed a lot of times, they're a train wreck waiting to happen. And I really, really hope that spark gets lit early in the year here in Pittsburgh. Steelers Nation, we're doing shorter episodes now, and we'll be with you again with the third one here today a little bit later on. And until then, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.